let's restart the recording here because I want to break this up anyway. So I heard about this game, and I've heard about this game before. Let me check Steam, please. Let me check Steam, please. Okay, well then I'll just close you. I have the power. It says partial controller support, so we'll just. I've heard about games. Yeah, you hear about games? Y'all, have you heard about these games? So I've heard about this game a couple times, and I was like, that's a thing I should play at some point. And like I mentioned, I was watching Jacob Geller's latest video with Aaron, and got to a point about this game, and I was like, I'm gonna pause because I haven't played this game, and I feel like I should, and I feel like it would be relevant to this video. So I'm gonna play the beginner's guide. This is a game from the guy who did Stanley Parable. And I was like, this is a thing. It's been rattling around. Yes, my doing. See, I was right. And I was like, one, I want to watch the video. Two, this has come up enough times that can you eat them? Yes. Boil them. Video games. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. This has come up enough times that I'm like, I should just do that. So, overlay position. I don't know what that means. Sure. This game is really effective. I was so happy I played it. Video games. My good friend, Video James. Closed captions. Headphones. Oh, well, that changed. It changed the sound in a way I didn't like, so put it back to normal. So yeah, I don't know anything about this game. I know it's by Stanley Parable guy. I played the original Stanley Parable, so I have like a small idea, but it's the perfect way to walk into it. All right, so WASD mouse button, got it. Stanley Parable is a game we all deserve. God, I
Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide.
Hello.
My name is Davey Wreden. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story,
Sure.
Today I'm going to tell you about a series of events.
Video James sounds like a guy you buy bootleg tapes from.
And 2011.
Gonna go see my buddy Video James.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda.
Oh, I am?
Now these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made.
This looks like DE Dust.
Counter-Strike.
Called it.
You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So,
it's a Mario block.
In 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet.
Obviously, please no spoilers. I know everybody is super good about it, but
computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse.
Please and thank you.
At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked.
It's probably a spawn point.
Crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day he just stopped. In 2011,
PC was running so couldn't figure out why
last game, and then
Fortnite decided it wanted to update without telling me. Ugh.
And that's why I've taken this
Love that.
opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda.
Okay. I'm going to pause this right now. Because the video that so like I mentioned, I was watching Jacob Geller's video, Jacob Geller's most recent video, about art for no one. And this came up. And so knowing that video, getting to this intro and being presented with this concept, I immediately have thoughts. I immediately have thoughts about how this is being presented. D does plant the bomb at B. They never see it. And so I'm very...
So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
And so I want to hold on to those thoughts as we get
the date that it was completed.
Through it,
this
you know?
one was made in November 2008.
I want to get... It's the thing like I was talking about a bit ago, like when we're playing Dragon's Dogma and all this, of playing a game as it's presented to you, right? Not immediately coming to criticisms, not immediately coming to assumptions, not immediately coming to decisions. Saying, hey, this is the game, right? Accepting the narrative, accepting what is being told, accepting what you're not being told. And so coming to it via this video, granted, I've heard about Beginner's Guide dozens of times. Coming to it from watching that video is coloring my perception in a way. What? Okay. Oh, my W key. My W key gave up, y'all. Hang on. Thank you.
Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Okay. I've never heard this game before. I'm watching completely fresh. I've oh, W key, come on. Oh no. Oh my gosh, W key, please. W key, we're gonna listen. W key, I don't ask much from you. I don't ask a lot from you on a normal day. So if we can hold it together today. I like him telling me you can click to fire the gun. I'm really into this sort of commentary over a game thing. Also, that's absolutely the sound from Counter-Strike in a fun way.
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
W key is the gamer use the most. We do ask a lot. I play with controller a lot, though. You know?
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
That's funny. That's great. W Key's feeling neglected. Where am I? Oh, this door. Okay.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it.
Sure.
Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh. Okay.
This is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey,
Is that it?
you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam.
Oh.
So much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Celestian, hello. Rocky, time to ruin your friendship with those you hold dear. News. Oh no, did they announce a new Mario Party? Well, there you go. Again, very Counter-Strike.
What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level.
Love when people overly analyze something, my brain goes,
something goes wrong. There's
probably a
bug
test game to learn
somewhere,
different concepts.
And this is what happens instead.
Dokapon Sword of Fury, the controversy PS1 Dokapon board game is getting a Switch remaster. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Oh, I kind of hate this.
Causes you to start floating.
I kind of hate this.
Important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
It's controversial because Dokapon's a right fuck of a game. Yeah, Dokapon is something.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Okay. I was like, is my controller broken? I was like, did the W key give up the ghost? Oh.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
That's okay, that's fun. Oh.
Short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Oh, there's some that are just a little scary that I'm like, I don't. Click the 8 pages, Matt. No. No, I was just gonna, no. Is it scary? I paid $60 for that out there. W key, please.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
That's a very big statement to make about the creative I'm getting slower.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
This is a very interesting thing that they've just presented me with, because again, I came to this game, the thing that's in my head with this game is, Casper's going nuts, I don't know if you can hear him, is the idea of art made for its own sake, essentially. Sir. And so art that's, how do you experience art? What is the correct way to experience art? And so being told, here is a game that someone made and they made it this way, and then what I've done is I've modified it so you can do this, I'm like, but that's not the experience. That's not the intention. Well, like I said, we will approach the game as it presents itself. And we'll go from there.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Stand on an X staring at a bear for 3 hours. That's very funny.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A series of lavish manuals come with the game giving you incorrect instructions on how to play. That's sick. That's a cool game idea. No, not gonna sneeze? Okay, not gonna sneeze. There was another one that I thought was cool, was you play as a queen discussing your jewels as your kingdom is burned.
Well, this
which is
new for
cool.
Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Be a cool game idea. One you can't watch others play unless you don't care about experiencing it yourself.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
Again, this little 3 dots. we saw these little 3 dots in the space level. Yeah, I think there's a discussion to be had, Ionic, about games, especially in the conversation of games as art, and the sort of shared play, and, you know, spoiling and that sort of thing. Yeah, he could use it as a signature. It's very interesting. It's one of those things where I'm like, huh, look at that.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. All right, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Whoa!
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Oh. We're back to this. Oh, we're exiting.
Aha. So this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow.
And this
It
is
could even be that
scary.
The stairs game and puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Laughing because original Slender is on my wheel.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which
Dark environment, strongly Slender.
cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Remember BioWare Dev talking about game design is doing card tricks in the dark, doing really impressive cool stuff that players will not be aware of. It's like that bit where I think it was Oblivion, it might have been Morrowind, but I think it was Oblivion, where during the really long cutscenes, they would reboot your Xbox. It would actually reboot your Xbox in the background to make space for all of the stuff they were about to load, which is cool as hell.
Games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many Coda games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Hell yeah, shout outs to Coda putting a handicap accessible bathroom.
You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Oh no. Oh god, I thought I missed it. And Ah! Okay. Gotta get to work on popping if there's time. Yeah, no worries. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Here, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Here, I hope you have a good rest of your day, buddy. Thank you, as always, for coming and spending time with us. I appreciate the heck out of you. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, we're okay. That was scary. Good shits. Just landed, took it all on the knees, just. Good strong knees. This makes me think of that scene in Half-Life 2. Pick up the can. What? You know why they had that whole scene was to
Funny enough,
show off the source engine.
Original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
So, this is interesting. This is interesting. We're kind of, there's the 3 dots again. We're kind of immediately presented with this view of these two creators.
With the exact same solution as the last time.
This is interesting. This here. The W key, please. Come on, you're killing me.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
This Oh. You there, did you come from up above? What was up there?
System that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
There's an enormous prison I spent hours in. It's the world above, you've been there. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. Perfect, please, tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. I didn't solve it, someone else let me in. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. That's a very interesting way to respond. Because the thing that's always struck me, if I can go off on a tangent here, the thing that's always interested me about dialogue in games, especially in a dialogue choice system like this, right, is dialogue choice systems like this allow us to determine what is true, right? They allow us to say, here is what happened, right? So if I pick one, it becomes true that my character, my avatar, whatever, can't remember, right? That becomes the narrative. If I pick 2, the truth becomes that I didn't solve the puzzle. The avatar didn't solve the puzzle. The door just opened, right? And then in 3, we're taking, again, we're deciding what's true. It's not these other 2 things. It's that Metal Dogs released DLC. Holy shit. Does it make it true that your avatar is a liar? That could also be the case. That could also be the case. We don't have any way to know for certain whether or not these are lies. But that's also a possibility. But that's a thing that I've always thought is very interesting, and a thing that I don't think to use an absolute lie. It might be. It might be, it might not be. I think there's, and again, not having played this game, not wanting to spend a bunch of time theorizing what can be happening instead of just, you know, seeing what's happening. I think all of these could be just as true as the rest of them. Yeah, Metal Dogs looks great. That is true. Metal Dogs look like a lot of fun. I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna go with 3 because it doesn't make any of the other things true. We need to get there. It's the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. The G-Force experience thing popped up. How'd you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yeah, do you want to know how to solve it? What? No, we find the black space between the doors far more interesting. Have you seen it? Now that you mention it, I do feel strange as I pass through it. Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. Well, that's a bad vibe.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Whenever I play this game, I'm getting a deja vu moment. I must have watched someone else play this before. It's by the Stanley Parable guy, so it could be that.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
And that's how we got Counter-Strike 2. He realized that what he loved was making Counter-Strike levels. And to do that, he has to make Counter-Strike 2. This game, oh. Nice room, not. The way that I know that this game isn't actually connected to the internet, the way that I know this game actually isn't connected to the internet is there's not a billion notes in the first room that just say like dicks. Like
this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be.
Wait, you know the game told you? Yes, but I knew it before the game told me, so I'm
trying to get his attention.
smart.
I was over enthusiastic, but he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Oh. All right, well, this is cool. Can you guys hear me? Oh, that's a... You must read everyone.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
No,
Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
Define fun. Balls, perfect. We found it. Internet, everybody.
It's ironic.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
In playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
I'd rather be doing literally anything other than playing this. What a video game thing. What the shit is this cavern? Huh. Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. Why would people think butt ass butt? Video games. Recognize again, like there's things in here. Don't listen. That's funny. Grab your boots and coat for this butt ass butt. Makes game includes door, cannot open door. Thanks. I mean, it's very clearly not a door. It's just a space. I would like very much to be desired. A lot of people just putting the type of person sees the world in a very direct viewpoint. I typically don't overanalyze things. When people look at art and start theorizing what it could be, I'm like, that is a triangle. He bought a phone just for pictures of this butt-ass butt. There's a very interesting thing. Like... Proceeding further will only result in misery. I mean, listen, I gotta experience the experience. Robert Louis Stevenson said, everything we create in fiction is an extension of ourselves. Basically, what you put out didn't come from nowhere. It occurred to you to include and create it for a reason. Even the curtains being blue. Even the curtains being blue. I think it's a very, I think if you accept this game as people wrote these notes that are included in this game, you view this game one way. And if you view this game as the person who made this game lied to you about the game being connected to the internet and included all of these notes to simulate the game being connected to the internet, why did he do that? What experience did he mean for you to have? And in the same way, when we're talking about like in the same way that they're talking about like how games should be playable versus not, right? I think is a super interesting discussion. I saw a person walking down there. No, you defo didn't. It's about how this game is pretentious and you all suck. Again, like... Oh, I just noticed each of these notes could be interpreted as that little 3 dots. I'm very, Try finger butthole. There must be a reason for it.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it.
And a hello, and the reason is you.
Chapter of his life before moving on to the next.
And the reason is you. And a hello. There's more. Oh, there's the 3 dots. Anna, how are you? How are you doing today?
After exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution. He understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space. Before you move on, you get to pause.
Bet I'm doing great. I'm an official PokeTuber. Hell yeah. I listen, you were official.
Reflect on and let go of the events that led you here.
You were an official PokeTuber the second you started.
Together to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
You were a PokeTube. How do you leave notes? Going to Florida for a Pokemon card show? Don't go to Florida, oh no! Are you there? Please say something. I just need you to say something. Talk to me, please. Speak. I know. Writing the great American novel. Porn star.
This one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
That's a title. I'm not thrilled. You could go to any other state. I'm excited you're going to a card show though. What do you have planned? What are you getting up to?
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? A TV with surround sound. You're on their creator page? Hell yeah. Put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. I'm pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference. And I shared the link to this thing. And I shared the link to this place.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Promote yourself.
He throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care you remember each step. First, click on this table. Photo frame, click to turn. Okay, so click on table. There's the 3 dots. Click on the table. Click on the photo. Light off and on. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison. Okay. Card party? That's a hilarious name.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
There's not a lot of femme non-binary creators in the PokeTuber space. It's important to show up and represent and be like, Pokemon is not just cis white male. That's fair. I agree. I get that. I'm with you on that. I don't know how I feel about this game, the whole game, not just the game inside the game. Yeah, I'm so it helps being familiar with Stanley Parable, I think, to know that there will be a point because of just the person who made it where our expectation will be twisted. And what we think is happening is not what is happening, or the expectations and assumptions that we have will be, you know, turned upside down. So I don't think I enjoy playing it. I enjoy this as an example of games as an experience. Yeah, I think there's a very interesting conversation to be had about this game and taking place in this game about games as art. What do games what do players deserve from a game? What there's something going here. It's an art experience. You just got to flow with it. Yeah. As of now, it's been an interactive art show. Like it's been an interactive PowerPoint so far. So, but no, I get you, Anna. I agree. It's cooking. Yeah, it's cooking. Let him cook. Whoever want to watch Skinamarink? No, I don't. It's scary. I heard it's. I did have to tell Aaron what the Skinamarink phone was. Hello? Oh, that's me. Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you. From after you escape the prison. What is fear but joy curdling? You're me. So you were trapped in this prison too?
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Oh, hang on. I missed. Jalen, another honest to God skin. Jalen was the first person I talked to about Skinamarink. I was in the escape tutorial. That's where I am right now. I'm so glad to know I get out eventually. What's it like to escape? I'm already forgetting what being in the prison was like. Really? How long has it been since you got out? Currently watching the trailer to it. I didn't know it existed. I don't know how to tie this into Shining Force 2. Years. I've been standing here working up the nerve to call you. It's hard to admit I was afraid to make this call. If you're me, you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? I did get a call. That's how I escaped. What'd they tell you? What'd you have to do to get out? They asked me how I felt about being imprisoned. Skinamarink isn't for everyone, but if you have a hard time getting scared, maybe stare into the digital abyss, reflecting on your lonely childhood will get you there. No, I don't want that. Nope, no thank you. That freed you? How does it work? Just tell me how you feel. I felt afraid nothing will ever change. Okay, go on.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you...
What the actual fuck was that trailer? I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm good.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Excuse me.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle. with the 2 doors on either side.
Truly wouldn't even think of cutting a trailer for that movie.
Between.
Please just shoot me instead. Oh, I could never live here. This is terrifying. I'm definitely gonna watch it. Oh, I'm glad as heck y'all showed up. Thought I might have to clean this entire house by myself. Right, miserable that would be. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved
Beautiful account,
which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Place is nice. I'll be glad to stay here all night. Just might be getting a little ahead of yourself there, no? Why don't we start cleaning, then you decide whether you could do it all night. I'll finish up here in the meantime. Can you clear the table? Run into the bedroom and make the bed. Wait, I clicked on the table. I clicked on the bed. I recommend a dark room and a not sleepy state of mind, slow-paced movies, and there's glacial dread built. No. Best way to describe a movie is remember when you were a little kid and you had a nightmare, scary one, and you woke up to an empty house with all the lights off and no one home. That's how the movie makes you feel. No, I'm good. I don't need this. How'd you end up doing this job? Friend dragged me along at a time I was particularly desperate for cash. Turns out I've never felt so good doing something for money my whole life. Never liked cleaning my own home. Might have some demons I'm not ready to face yet. Speaking of demons, someone put this couch all a mess. You're coming straight in the pillows? So this was the thing, escaping the prison, right? You have to click on the table, then you click on the bed. Recommend watching it with the lights off alone, or at least not cuddling up with someone. Let it do what it's doing. Click on the couch. It was oh right, it was yeah, it was table and picture frame. Okay, so maybe it's not that. I'm drawing parallels when they don't exist. I feel compared to Shell a particularly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Yeah, I'll try to get by. No, it was stupid. Sorry, never mind. Hey, those dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? So you're not doing anything and I'm doing everything. Last I checked, the tub needed cleaning. How about you scrub it down the best you can? No need to be perfect. We're all just human. Books scattered on the floor of the bedroom. Perfect. How about you come and clear the dishes off the table?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing.
I did that.
It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Are all houses this easy to clean? Darling, let me tell you something. Your lifetime, you're gonna clean a lot of houses. Among all those, a few will stick out as truly wonderful, beautiful experiences. None of them will be the ones that were easy. Something to think about while you smooth out the rug in the bedroom.
I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask.
Doing the dishes never ends, confirmed.
This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Now the tub is dirty. Earlier when I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was gonna say it occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it and it takes care of you. I don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. Yeah, but there's a bit of truth to it, no? Anyway. So, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clean up the books? Thanks.
I'm glad he made this.
Can't have folks coming home to a messy couch. Question.
But, of course,
do you enjoy
it
this?
can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
A lamppost.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
That's a weird thing to say, narrator.
I really thought that was the point of it.
That's a strange thing you said there. Items you love at members only prices. That's a funny name. Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to be perfect. That sounds like a cult. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person's a better human being than I am. Yeah, this is a cult. This is cult shit. Who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who's so well developed as a person they make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel useless. So, oh, this is bad. This is a bad. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly? Yeah, this is an MLM. This is... It's so easy.
The perspective shifts.
Oh.
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
So, these are the things that you can't say. On the way to work, I told an elderly person to start contributing to society. Kids should not follow their dreams. This is the key. How do I achieve it with no effort? And then there's whatever's going on there and the lamppost. I still love you, it's just you make me feel cold on the inside. Being alone must be awful. Let me tell you right now, if it isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. Drinking is not hurting my life. You're torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions for your life. You're not doing it right. If anyone ever says this to you in your real life, don't talk to that person. This is... Seek out only one thing. What is the easiest, simplest path forward? This is some, like, hippie reactionary shit. Anyone want to do some ecstasy after this? There is no truth. There is no path. Do what is easiest. Do what is simplest. Feel what is true. A giant swirling orb of concerning origin and nebulous destination, just like Brian's bullshit wheel. Anyone else just want to jump right in that void? It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you. Everyone, what?
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
Definitely thought that's what we should do.
A lot these days.
I tried to go up there. For the record, I tried to go up there.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
God, that was loud. The performance is beginning. Places. Oof. This scene you'll be playing as me. We're at a gathering of professionals. First, you'll start out leaning against this wall. All right. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. It's your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something to her. This feels like that scene in Scott Pilgrim. Your big break, kid. Hello. Classic opener. Hello, that's it? That's not a conversation. You need to actually converse with her, be a human being. Do it again. I'm super scared right now. No, that's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There are a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people. Okay. Now talk to her again. Oh, hang on, I gotta lean against the wall. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. You're messing it all up again. You'll freak her out if the conversation gets personal that quickly. Well, that's why I started with hello. Do you realize how important this was for me? I'll never get another opportunity. Everything's riding on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Okay, well this isn't how theater works. Hang out by my old friend the light post. Oh, do you just mean... Stop fucking it up, Matt. I know, listen. Oh. I get. All right. Yes, this is working. This is what it was like.
Eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago.
You're doing great.
It just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of
these sounds are
inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Mobius Trip. To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. Do I keep my eyes closed, chat? I mean, I guess you better. You better. Or I'll report you for cheating. Oh no. All right, eyes closed. I mean, I also can't read chat, but... 'Cause, 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 Okay. I'm gonna try going forward. I can't see what's happening. Obviously. I'm just gonna press forward. I'm gonna... Okay.
Give me a hell
You should
yeah.
probably open your eyes if you haven't already.
Okay.
Solve otherwise. And there is a solution.
I wanted to... I wanted to block out the game so I could just see chat. But then I realized I'm staring at the game in front of me, so...
Bing bang.
Well, excuse me, princess.
What's going on? I like someone says, like, am I gonna be killed by a giant door? Please tell me how to solve this. There was a giant door and then my vision went black. These games have started the discussion on what is considered a game. Oh yeah, weird. The SS Whisper. There's those 3 dots again. It happened to me too? Wait, what's here? Oh. Truth. The only way to stop is to speak something that is honest. I'm bursting with creative... nope. I'm bursting with creative energy, and he said that's not the truth. My work is always fun. I can't keep making these. That's it. That's the truth.
Like I said, I was getting concerned.
Top rope, catch a vibe, catch a phone. Helix, hello.
Exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But
Helix, how are you?
Weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
The last thing Truth said is we're going to be okay.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Tired AF, the day trip yesterday was great. I need to catch up on sleep. Well, I hope you can take some time and rest. Hello? 1 month longer for each game? Yeah, games are taking longer to make. Where did this island come from? Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. Was he making other games with other devs, or are these just the games that were made completely by him? As it's been presented, these are the only games that he's made in any way, shape, or form. I'm completely out of ideas. When I try to create, I feel empty. I have nothing left to give to my work. That's... Oh no! What happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. From what we know, Coda was full solo and was resident to share our work with others. There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. Helix, enjoy your lurk. Get some rest if you need, friend. It's good to see you. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. I withhold speculation. Yeah, part of it definitely, like, I feel like if we started speculating, we would just be here for an hour, and it would be better to spend that hour just getting through the game, because I know it's not that long. I need to see it to know why it stopped. I can take you to it, but there's a problem. It's guarded by a difficult puzzle. You help me solve the puzzle, we'll find the machine.
One turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore.
It's building to something soon.
Why? What is it for?
Deal. So far, we're watching the general unraveling of Coda. Perfect. Come along, I'll show it to you.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them.
Here's the puzzle, what do you think?
And so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Oh, I've solved this puzzle before. Oh, wonderful. Can you tell me how to do it? First you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Now you have to close the first door. All right, what's next? Now you just press the switch here. Ah, that was so simple.
You can't talk yourself
Can't believe I never solved this
out of
before.
loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Here we are. There's no machine here. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say game development is simple and joyous and you love it 100% of the time. Okay. That's definitely a woman crying in reverse. Which, rad. Feels cool feels. Cool, great, love it. Sure, making games is easy. Oh, that feels wonderful. Why did I feel so awful when I said that? She's watching Snow Magnolias. Don't worry about it, just keep thinking. Keep saying that creation is easy. I am constantly excited and enthusiastic about my work. Yes, that's wonderful. Keep going. These are things from other games.
Really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
Put it on the internet. Put it on a t-shirt. God damn. Every time I make something, I feel better about myself. Perfect. That feels fantastic.
And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
None of this is helping. Patience, you have to trust me. I promise this will work. Please continue. Any sacrifices made for my work are worth it 100% of the time.
I don't know.
Yes, more. Keep going.
I don't know how else to explain it.
I will be saved by my work.
Stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had.
Incredible. That's it. I'm free.
For this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Oh, the machine. That I love that comedy bit. Ma'am, glad to see you arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You begin the interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. This game was released in 2015 for content, so rapidly approaching present day. Thank you, Jesse. That is good to know. Be warned, someone called the press. We might have a bit of attention. One more thing you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. That's okay. This design is great of like NPCs with heads. I love this. Like the little box heads. What has the machine been doing? Will we get to see what will be done? How did you capture the machine? Will we get answers? Will the machine answer for what it's done? I said what I said.
And of course, it's the machine.
You stopped. But your work was keeping us alive. It was only because of your creations any of us could make it through every day. Here's what needs to happen. You need to go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. I've seen the thing you fear. All right then. I will speak to them for you. My friends, it falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine will not apologize to us. This feels like Nier. We must find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us show to it that we are not failures. We will destroy the machine. We will destroy everything the machine has created. We'll destroy the machine. And we're back on the stage. And we have the gun. Can I go through?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation.
I mean, but you're
And so, as
playing
I'm
it.
this, I realized that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for it? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Oh, okay. That's fine. What?
So I started showing Coda's work to people.
Oh, the door.
This one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Here we go. Put down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need.
This is
to be told that my work is good.
This is all I can do.
I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something. I really felt like I'd done something good. Like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem.
All of these lines being overlaid with me shooting the machine is chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the
Perfect.
Best feeling.
Perfect.
It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off.
This is what I need. Obviously, this is what everyone needs.
So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email.
Love that transition so much. This game rules.
A new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge,
Sympathy versus
the last
empathy.
game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
It's so, man. It's really funny to have him say that after the classroom game. After the classroom game that so clearly demonstrated that you can't know everyone's inner thoughts. You can't know what everyone is going through. That.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
It's that same.
This room actually has a maze in it.
Oh. Whoa!
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. The experience is really miserable.
The flashing is...
The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the level, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Flash warning. So we've hit this point again where the game presents us with, this is how Coda made this thing. And I've given you a way around it. I've given you a way to bypass the experience. I've given you a way to go through it. Not sure there's a relevant thing, a Coda's conclusion to a literary piece or a musical work. Oh, it's probably relevant. Boo, you're the one that said, even the curtains being blue. I'm interested in the concept of trying to beat this maze, but in the interest of not spending the next 20 minutes with a bunch of flashing lights,
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
I mean, anything that I mean, man, it'd be longer to complete than 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes is a rough estimate, let's be fair.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
15, 16, 17. 15, 16, 17. Keep that number in mind. I mean, what's funny is, at this point, it still fits the definition of what the narrator has portrayed as a playable game. You know, it still follows what the narrator has put forth as what is a game.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
Up. W key. Thank you. W key fighting me on this one.
Strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left. And it felt somehow like I had failed.
Men will do literally anything other than go to therapy. If he could have connected the dot. Oh my god. Oh my god, boo.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
I cannot overstate how this is fucking devastating. This is the most devastating thing I can fucking imagine happening. This is the like, this is the, can you imagine like, oh, and it was impossible to get here. There was so much. And like, hang on. I made this whole game knowing you'd play it to tell you thanks, but kindly F off. And it's not even just that, right? It's not even just that, because like I said, this game is playable by all of the things that Davey's been a huge prick, right? Davey's been a huge prick. And there's something, oh my god. And even in this moment, even in this, he gives Davey courtesy that he has not earned.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I am making these games for you.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, it was...
Oh.
I felt good about myself.
I haven't even really...
For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Oh. That hit a little that hit there, chat. That but can games be art? Ad break? No, no, because this is the point, right? This is the point of the game. This is the like, this is, hi, this is art. Like, this is, I think it's very funny that in 2015, oh, well, there's ads anyway. I think it's very funny that in 2015, like, before the rise of influencer and content creation that we see now, which obviously, you know, it existed in 2015, but it's very different now. Like, to hear that said out loud as a person who struggles with valuing myself and self-worth, and I have my whole life, as a person who finds a lot of joy in this, that hits really close. That and I'm not, we haven't even addressed the thing on the wall. Like, I haven't even really approached the concept presented on the wall. Ugh. It's worth noting when Davey Wreden made Stanley Parable in 2011, this in 2015, and not a lot after. Yeah, I think this is a meta game, right? That it's obvious that the things presented here are narrative, are fictional, and in a way to convey the purpose of the story. You've so infected my personal space. It is possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work hidden between games. If there were an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them, oh my God, the emote made me think there was something in the game. Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe. That's an interesting one. Giving you an internet hug. I appreciate it, Ionic. Yeah, it's... Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them. Davey's the one that added the lampposts. I mean, this is a thing. This is a thing that I'd considered, right? When we were talking about the modifications, like playing the games they were meant to be played. Everything we've seen, everything we've been presented with has been via Davey, through Davey, from Davey's perspective. But...
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Would you simply let them be what they are? When I'm around you, I feel physically ill. You desperately need something that I cannot give it, and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. The fact that you think I'm frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize this doesn't make sense to you yet, which is fine. You are not my problem to solve. But I do hope one day it clicks and that you will make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything. Same solution. But
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want.
The walls are closing in.
I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Is Coda a real person? If so, they learn a lesson. No, Coda is not a real person. I don't think. Epilogue. Closet psychological horror game.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
Oh, it's not. It's just online. Okay.
Solution.
That's fun.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
Love that train transition.
Making prisons.
That was a good transition.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Oh.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like. What now?
I'm curious about.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
This makes me really want to play. The new Stanley Parable isn't by the same people, right? There's that line where he says, like, what if I put solutions in my game? And so now of course, because me, gamer brain, I'm like, are there hidden solutions? Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe is on Family Video. I'd play that. I played the first one, that ruled. Yeah, but is the Jesse, if you know, is the new one made by the same people? Extra content's excellent. Revisiting the old stuff's great. Big recommendation. Yeah, I believe. Okay. Same thing. Oh. Same writers, Davey and his partner. Whoa. All three games have different dev names and publishers for some reason. Steam is not as consistent about that as I would like. Yeah.
Turn back,
writers are the same. That's largely what's important.
Miles and miles and miles, and you're so tired, but I know that you're strong.
Oh, Rami? Samantha Coleman? Hey. Shoutouts.
Turn back.
That's the beginner's guide. I can't help but feel that there's things hidden in this game. You know? I can't help but feel that there's
Emotional damage.
which might just be me. You're doing the thing. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I think that's just me. Yeah, you're looking for the game, right? It's literally what I was about to say was like, it's me. It's me. Projecting game trip, right? Like it's a game, it's a video game. Therefore, there has to be a thing. There has to be this. There has to be that. Like, there has to be some hidden doodad for me to feel good about being smart, about noticing the pattern, about solving the puzzle, about finding the pieces. There has to be a thing, and sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it is what it is. Calls it a piece in the most pretentious way possible. Laugh a minute, yeah. Laugh riot. Crack 'em ups. Okay. Well, I've played that now. Originally the Troy game looped forever. I had to end it. I kind of wish there had been a little bit more time spent with that concept, with the concept of Davey was changing things, but it felt true to me. Like we had already been talking about like experiencing the game as it was, and Dewey was changing things. And so I guess it didn't come as much of a shock, but it's a good lesson how every person experiences games differently, whether it's through difficulty levels or using a guide. Every way to experience a game is okay. I think what's funny to me is a lot of people will use the phrase developer's intention when talking about when talking in opposition to accessibility. And what I think is very interesting is people don't care about artistic intention in any other medium. They worry about what is profitable. They worry about what will make them the most money. So here we're gonna come over here. the Jacob Geller video I was watching. I'll find it on YouTube. But I was watching it on Nebula. He has so many videos that I really want to sit down and watch. The thing that worries me about watching his videos is I feel like all of them are going to lead to me pausing halfway through and having to play a video game. Nebula's amazing. I signed up to Nebula to watch Jacob Geller videos, like expressly. I very expressly said I want to watch more videos from him, and with all of the things that YouTube doesn't let him do. But so he in that video, he talks a lot about art, how art is appreciated, how art is approached, how art is consumed. And I'm very interested to go back and finish that video now that I've played this, because I'm interested to see what points he's drawing from this into that greater video, or that larger video. But to get back to what I was saying, people don't care about artistic intent in any other medium. And so to say that it's so important in video games is toxically disingenuous. Because it doesn't matter. I said this is coming from like a big series of TikToks I did a while back, where people gave me every excuse under the sun. And people were like, well, it's not the developer's intent. And I was like, I don't care. The end of the intention of the developer, or the intention of the developer, ends as soon as it's in the hands of the player. As soon as someone finishes writing a book and it becomes someone reading a book, as soon as it goes from someone painting a painting to someone viewing a painting, their intention not ceases to matter, but matters less, and only amounts to so much in that person's consumption is a bad word, but like in that person's feelings about, from, during the piece, right? If someone's intention to paint a painting is to make you feel a certain way, and you don't feel that way, and because of your individual life and your mix of experiences, you feel a different way, are you wrong? Did you art wrong because you did not have the intended experience? If you view an art piece on your phone, on the subway, surrounded by people, instead of on your own in an art gallery in all of its glory, or grandeur, did you art wrong because you didn't view it in the setting that it was intended? Is that level of interaction even something intended by the artist? And so to say say the developer intention for video games precludes accessibility, precludes difficulty settings, precludes accessibility settings, is disingenuous. I've said multiple times, it's impossible for people to experience a game the same way, because every person is unique. Every person is an individual. The only way for you to experience a game the same way as someone else is for you not to experience the game, but to experience them telling you about it. The way that we experienced Coda's games in that game are the way that Davey wanted us to, because of how he presented them, the story, the narrative that he constructed around them, the changes that he made to them. They can only be experienced in the way he wanted to, because he was the author of our experience in every way. So there's no way for two people to experience a game the same way. The example that I used that I was proud that I came up with was, if you sit down and you play a game for 6 hours straight through, your experience will be different. If we take a branch in time, right? You sit down and you play that game for 6 hours at a time. The other you sits down and experiences that game in 1 hour increments after work 6 days in a row. Your experience with that game is going to be completely different, despite you even being the same person, right? Despite you having all of the same experiences, despite, you literally being the same person. And so imagine the multitude of experiences, the multitude of thoughts, the multitude of emotions that people bring at different times in their life to playing a game. The developer can't have planned for those intentions. And so at what point does developer intention cease to matter? If artist intention is all that matters, they'll describe every scene or piece with a detailed description. Da Vinci never intended photographs of the Mona Lisa. Right. He didn't intend for you to see the Mona Lisa on your cell phone on the subway. If I had a different work schedule, I'd love Destiny 2, but I don't. Right. Their intention is for you to experience the game a certain way, and you can't. And so I think this game, I'm going to close Jacob Geller's YouTube page because one of the thumbnails is just staring at me. That's very funny. I think this game has a very interesting piece to say about that. I'm very excited over lunch to go back and watch the rest of Jacob's video because there was like 15 minutes left. Like he was definitely wrapping it up. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I played this. This is definitely. I don't know if I shared this. I don't know if I shared this on stream. Break time? Yeah. I don't know if I shared this on stream. I saw somebody in a Facebook group that I'm in. The sort of overall discussion was games or art. Are games art, that sort of thing. And they were like, I would find more viability in that argument if there weren't games riddled with battle passes and ads and in-app purchases. And my response to that person was, that's like saying Godfather isn't a masterpiece because Austin Powers exists. Like, I accept video games are art because of the effort that goes into it, the creativity that goes into it, the sheer will that goes into it. Like, if you accept video games are art, Fortnite is as much art as this. The difference is, what's their artistic intent? What's their artistic endeavor? They're just different. They just have different aims. It was a good experience. Not sure I would have played it myself. Yeah, and I think that's the interest. I think that's what's interesting about live streaming. I think that's commercial painting is a whole genre of meaningless, inoffensive pieces for hanging in hotels. Right, that art has to come from somewhere. They paid someone to make it. It's art just as much as the Mona Lisa. And the second, it's like a conversation that comes up a lot. A conversation that comes up a lot that I always push back against is, and I've seen it in multiple industries, is what is indie? What is indie? People will talk about like what is an indie game in relation to video games and in relation to TTRPGs, right? And I've always said that what is indie, you can very easily find the people who aren't, because those are major corporations. And the second you try to define any characteristic, it is with the express purpose of excluding someone you think isn't. Like, anytime I've seen someone have the conversation of this isn't indie because it is a completely specious definement that they are making with the express purpose of excluding an example. They're saying they're not indie because. And it is always exclusionary argument. It is always with the purpose of making that definition so specific, so small, so restrained that it's the same as if you say, well, this video game is an art because. And it's whatever you say after because, I will find an example that by that definition is not art that you would say otherwise. That video game is an art because, what about this game? That video game is an art because, what about this game? I mean, hell, if we want to be pedantic about it, none of these video games are art because they're sold in a store with the purpose of making money. This is a really interesting game. This is a really cool game. I'm glad I played it. And I'm glad that people who might not have played it otherwise got a chance to experience it. And I hope it's giving you thoughts like it's given me thoughts. An artist must be starving and suffering, right? But yeah, I'm gonna take my break. I'm gonna take my break because it's important to take a break. When I get back, we'll get back to Dragon Warrior. And we'll see what's going on there. But until then, take this opportunity, get up, walk around, have a little water, take a moment for yourself. I'll see you back here in a second.